Awesome. Welcome, welcome everybody to Awakening by Design, the 6 pathways to return to the peace of your heart on this quantum alignment show. So excited to be here with all of you. This returning to the peace in my heart has been absolutely like everything to me. It has been the biggest game changer in my life. And it's really about becoming so anchored into the core of who we are. And the core of who we are is not what the media and what society and everyone else has made us believe who we are, but it is this peace. It is this love. And really, my goal here is to help us all become so anchored into the center of who we are amidst no matter what chaos happens in the world. To stay so anchored in our core essence, which is this peace, which is this love. So no matter what stuff hits the fan in the world, I think COVID was maybe only the tip of the iceberg. Like it was only the tip of the iceberg, so that no matter what happens in the world, we can stay true to who we truly are, no matter what emotions arise, no matter what happens in our external world. So for those of you who don't know, I know there's some of you who are maybe new to me. I am Callie Sorensen. I'm a certified quantum human design specialist and life transformed coach. And I was invited a few months ago to share on this quantum alignment show on any topic. And as a generator, maybe you generators can feel me, but it was like the pain of like such an open-ended, broad topic. I was like, oh, what am I going to talk about? Like, give me something to respond to at least. But it was an amazing opportunity to go within, to say what is so important to me, to who I am, to what I want to share. And it's not about, what I should share or what I have to share, or what do others need from me and what do they want from me? But it's like, what does my heart want to share? What would be so fun? What would be so juicy? What would go so deep into the core of who I am and what I'm here to share? So I'm so excited to share for a human design community because I can share with you guys my chart and kind of how I came to the process of what I want to share with you guys today. So here is me and my human design chart. I am a 3-5 emotional generator. And I don't know what you guys noticed right off the bat, but for me, when I first saw my chart, it was like, oh my God, what are all these white spaces? There's so much openness here. And for those of you who are new to human design, when we have these white centers, in our chart, this is where we can take in the conditioning of others. We can take in the conditioning of the world and we amplify it, right? And then we kind of lose our sense of direction of who we are. And especially for me, I noticed, oh my God, my G center. This is that big diamond in the center. This is our sense of direction, our sense of purpose, our sense of where we're going in the world. And mine is completely open. So my whole life, I kind of never knew where I was going. And I was always like this chameleon taking on the shapes and forms of everybody around me. And so really, this presentation and what I was like, wow, I want to support, this is really for me to come home to myself and find my own direction of who I am amongst all this openness, amongst all the conditioning of the world and how I've taken it in, to remove all the conditioning to find, well, who is the truth of me and what I'm all about, right? And then you look, I only have one channel, which is the 59-6. And for those of you who don't know, this channel is all about intimacy and depth. It's also the channel of like where sex is and war, right? So I'm like, already I knew I can't play on the surface. I gotta go deep. Like I gotta be really intimate. I gotta penetrate into the core essence of who I am and the core essence of life. And this has been my whole life, I think, what I've kind of resisted, because everyone else around me was playing on the surface. And I'm like, why am I not happy? And then I found human design. I'm like, oh, I am so designed to go really deep into the intimacy. And with my emotional center defined, I faced a lot of challenges with my emotion. And our incarnation cross, which is consisting of these top 4 numbers of our conscious sun and earth and unconscious sun and earth, mine is the cross of Eden. And so for me, this is like our life purpose and what we're here to play out just by being ourselves. And when I read my incarnation cross, this cross of Eden, I cried. Like I cried and I cried and I cried because it spoke to the soul of who I am. And it said, you were born on this planet, and you guys might relate because we have all of the chart. We are everything, right? You might relate to this, but it was like we were born as these infinite cosmic beings, knowing the potentiality of the love and peace that's possible. But through my life, I faced so many emotional hardships and depression and anxiety. I was sexually abused when I was young. It was like I was faced with all the lack of integrity that was out there in the world. But what this cross of Eden is, it's about bringing heaven back on earth. It's about returning home to the truth and the heart and the love that we are, despite all the hardships that we go through. So that's really what inspired me today to do this awakening by design, the 6 pathways to return home to the peace of your heart, to the love of your heart. And what is this awakening? You know, when I say awakening, I think we kind of throw this term around and I didn't really dive into it. But when I really felt into what it meant for me, this awakening is to wake up, to realize we're not broken. You know, you guys, none of you, no matter what you're going through in your life, nothing about you needs to be healed. Nothing about you needs to be fixed. Nothing about you needs to be changed. Every single one of you are perfect just the way that you are. So it's really about breaking free to find the freedom and the love and the perfection that's already within, to be so unapologetically yourself, not to be a carbon copy or, you know, to compare ourselves to others and care about what others think, but to show up so fully of who you are into this planet. And what's awesome is, you know, the awakening by design, why I love quantum human design, is it really is this roadmap to show us the potential of what we can step into. And it gives us a permission slip, right? To step into this life purpose that we were designed to live out. Like there's no mistake, right? Each one of us were born with the perfect blueprint. So whatever your type, whatever, you know, if you're, I see we have 6-2 generators, manifesting generators, everybody, you guys were born with that perfect design to live out your unique soul essence and soul blueprint and soul purpose. And really human design, I see it as this roadmap. It's a roadmap of how we can use this vehicle, this human body that we're in on this planet. How can we make empowered decisions, you know, and it gives us our strategy and our authority so we can move forward in our life. You know, so today, I know there's so much information out there on human design. There's so many amazing other quantum alignment shows that you can watch. And I have a free human design workshop that you can take if you want it. You can reach out to me. But today, I really want to focus on the 6 pathways to return to the peace of your heart. So how does this combine with human design? So human design, if that's like the roadmap of how to use the vehicle, the 6 pathways is really about how to enjoy the journey, how to really find peace amongst all the chaos in life and actually use all the chaos, use all the emotions, use all of our struggles, all of our relationships, everything to return us home to the truth of who we are. So we don't just find, again, the surface level happiness, but we dive deep into the truth of who we're here to be. So one analogy that I really like using is imagine your life as like a house. Okay. And imagine this house is built on quicksand. And this is like 99% of the population, I feel. And me too. It was like my whole life, my house is built on quicksand. And what is our quicksand consisting of? It's like trying to get more money, trying to get more clients, trying to be happy, trying to find freedom, trying to control our thoughts in this monkey crazy mind, or trying to manage our emotions, trying to not feel lonely, maybe trying to find love. And it's this quicksand that no matter how much we try to stay stable, it just feels like it's kind of falling out from under us. And like, I feel like so much of the self-development world that's out there and a lot of other spiritual communities that I've been in, and it's not our fault, there's no judgment here. But I feel like what I noticed with a lot of the programs that's out there, it's all about, okay, we have this house that's on quicksand, but let's try to make this house as beautiful as possible. Let's paint the walls, let's rearrange the furniture, and let's make it as pretty as possible. But it's kind of fruitless, right? Because at some point, the quicksand, it's going to dissolve. And so for me, I think, especially with this 59-6 line, that gate of penetration and war and friction, it's like, let's just let our house completely demolish and be destroyed so that we can dive in and create a super strong foundation of peace, of connecting into our true essence and building our house, our life on this foundation of peace and love and harmony and connected to our true self and being unapologetically ourselves, because we waste so much energy trying to be who we're not. So I say, let's let it all collapse today. If you guys are down, you know, and so really take a second to go within and get really radically honest. You know, what is your conditioning telling you that you need in order to be happy? Right? And if you want to share it in the chat, or if you're watching the replay, you know, share it below. You know, what is your conditioning? What is the mind? What is this program telling you? Do you need more money? Do you need more friends? Do you need more lovers? Do you need better health? Do you need, like, what do you need? A purpose? Yes. Until I find my purpose, only then, right? You know, and for me, I'll share a little bit of my story so you can get to know me as well and why this is so important. But for me, when I was in college, my college boyfriend proposed to me, and he's an awesome guy, like love him to death. And he came from a rough upbringing. So all he wanted in his life was stability and security. He wanted like the American dream. And now there's nothing wrong with the American dream if that's what your heart desires. But for me, I'm a 3-5. And if you guys don't know, a 3 line is like experimentation, adventure, exploration. I wish they taught us human design in school because it would have saved me a lot of suffering throughout my life. But I didn't know this. And I was like, I looked at my life and the trajectory of like marriage, 2.2 kids, the white picket fence, a 9-to-5 stable job. And I like freaked out, and there was this part within me that was like, there's got to be something more to life. Like, what is it that I actually want? And how many of us, when I do discovery calls with people, I say, what do you want in your life? And a lot of people kind of blank, like we don't even take the time to think, like, what is it that I want? And so I started to think, and it was like, I want to travel. I want to travel the world. So I actually ended up leaving college before I finished. I broke up with my boyfriend. I said, I love you, but I got to follow my heart. And I started traveling abroad, and what I wanted was like, I want to live on tropical island paradises and have hammocks and live a simple life and financial freedom. And I want to be of service. And I started dreaming up, like the vision board and what's it called? What's that movie? I forget, but it's like The Secret, what they tell you to do. And so I did all that, right? And guess what? I got every single thing on that list. I got everything. I had an amazing supportive family. I traveled the world, not only for just like a year or two. I've been abroad for the past 20 years. So half of my life, I'm 41 now. For half of my life, I lived in Japan, I lived in Korea, I was in Iceland, New Zealand, Australia, Asia, Africa, Europe. I mean, I hiked 800 miles across France, Spain, and Portugal. And not only that, I spent many years volunteering and being of service. I always heard, in order to find happiness, just give your life and be of service and focus on others. I did that. I did turtle conservation work, animal conservation work in Guatemala. I taught in indigenous villages in Ecuador. I did the Peace Corps in Africa. I taught HIV, AIDS, sex education to the deaf. And not only that, I had a spicy romantic life. Like, I feel like my life is like Eat, Pray, Love meets 50 Shades of Grey. I was like with a monk in Laos, a Bedouin tribesman in the Wadi Rum Desert in Jordan on a camel. I was a Spanish lovers hiking across the Camino. And I got engaged to an amazing man who was like a travel blogger and wanted adventure, deeply spiritual. And we got our dream, I dreamed of that tropical island paradise. Not only I bought a piece of property on what was ranked the #1 island in the entire world. I had it all. And not only did we have hammocks, we had a hammock business, and we could retire in our 30s and never have to work a day in our life. We had coconut trees, papaya trees, mango trees, everything, right? So on Facebook and to the outside world, people would say, oh, wow, like that's the dream life. Like, that's not even possible, right? And I got it all. And guess what? At that moment, when I achieved everything, I fell into the deepest, darkest depression of my life. So I'm not sharing the story to brag or to boast. I'm sharing it to say, even though the mind thinks it wants something, it's like when I got everything, I hit the deepest, darkest depression. And I went into the deepest, dark night of the soul. And my entire dream, my entire world just crashed. And I felt so alone. I felt so broken. And the worst part about it was like, I should be grateful. Like, here I am, a privileged white girl, like having the life of her dreams. And I lived in third world countries with poverty and HIV, AIDS, and I saw people die and suffer. And I'm like, who am I to suffer? And so I couldn't even access an ounce of gratitude. I bought books on gratitude. I took courses and retreats. I did meditations. I did 14 10-day Vipassana retreats. Like, nothing worked. Nothing worked. And I'm so glad, like, I can say now, like, looking back at my life, like, I can honestly say, and there's so much emotion coming up because it's like, I'm so grateful nothing outside worked. I'm so glad my lover wasn't able to give me what I needed. I'm so glad no amount of money and the land on the tropical island, beautiful paradise. I'm so glad none of that worked, because it was life forcing me to turn within to say, Callie, you got to face within. None of this outside is going to bring the joy that you actually came here to experience. So it forced me to go within and face all this darkness and face all the pain, to see how much actually I had so much self-hatred, so much self-loathing. I didn't even know how much I was holding. And I was so sensitive. My boyfriend, my fiance at the time, he would look at another woman and I would just go into extreme, like just abandonment, shock, jealousy. I couldn't find peace. It was just chaos. And when I tried to reach out to my friends and I would cry, everyone was kind of scared of how intense my emotions were. Nobody could hold a space, and everyone's like, just snap out of it, go travel, like you have a great life, and it was just all this avoidance. And then I felt even more broken, even more lost, even more confused. So at the bottom of all of this, I remember making like a commitment to say, if I ever get through this alive, like I want to commit my life to supporting people so they don't have to suffer as much as I did. Because I know what it's like to feel so alone and have no help. And I had to go through it like pretty much all alone, and I was like, if I can just make somebody else's life just a little bit, give them a little light at the end of the tunnel to say, I get it, I get it, then that's worth it for me. And I just want to honor all of your journeys, because I know I'm not the only one who suffered that. Maybe you guys have lost a loved one or had heartache and heartbreak or financial hardship or, abuse, or I just want to honor all of your journeys, that whatever you have gone through is not for nothing, that truly we are the hero of our own story, and we get to transform this pain into our purpose, into our mission here. And you guys, if you are here listening to this and you're into human design and all this stuff, we were born for a reason at this time, for this awakening, for this ascension that's happening on the planet, and like I said, it's only the tip of the iceberg, stuff is just going to keep hitting the fan. And so we are here to be the pioneers, right? We are here to be the leaders, to stand in unwavering love, no matter what, even after my sexual abuse, to stand in like, I'm choosing love, I'm choosing love, I'm choosing love, no matter what, So yeah, this is kind of how these 6 pathways have birthed through my journey, my own personal journey, on this awakening journey. And I really kind of tried to, as much as I could, solidify it into like 6 key pieces that helped me. And again, it's not that there's only 6. This is not another dogma for you to believe in. There's enough information out there. What my goal with this is to help us, release all the conditioning to say, wow, I am perfectly designed as I am. And I'm here to actually use all of my life experiences to return me home to the truth. So my invitation as we dive in today is just stay open. What I feel like our essence is, it's like this curious kid. It's staying in awe and wonder, right? And this is an energetic transmission. So it's not even important if you don't get all the words and you don't understand everything, just rest into the energy. And if emotions come up, let them come up, if pain or you want to scream or cry, like let that out, better up and out than stuffing it back in. So let's dive in. And if there's any questions, you can put them in the chat as we go along. And at the end, Cindy will help me and we'll answer them at the end. Okay. So before I share with you the first pathway, I want to ask you guys, and put this in the chat too, what are you struggling with the most right now? Like, where are you feeling stuck? Where are you feeling the most challenged? Is it maybe with like for me, it was my emotions. My whole life was my biggest challenge. Maybe for you, it's finances or career, your health, your relationships. Really start to just take a pause and look and say, okay, where am I struggling? Is there any place where I don't feel free, where I feel like there's a little bit of, a stuck point? And so this really leads us into pathway number 1. And pathway number 1 is acceptance. Acceptance. So, oh, good. Thanks, guys, for sharing. I find myself unemployable, going back to a job that frustrates me, waiting for the invitation. Yes, you must be a projector. So the first pathway is acceptance, is accepting the moment as it is, not as you want it to be, right? Because the mind says you should be employable. You shouldn't have to wait for an invitation. Like, it creates all these stories, but it's completely resting into the moment to accept this moment as it is, not as you want it to be. So that even comes to accepting of our human design chart. Like, what is, like, when I saw my chart, I was like, I don't want to be emotional. Like, screw this chart. I wanted to throw it out the window. But the pure resistance of it, right? What creates our suffering is the resistance to the moment as it is. So my resistance to my emotions, or your resistance to your career, or whatever it is that you're struggling with, that is what's causing the pain and the suffering. But however, when we can actually open up, and I know it's tough because the mind's like, no, this is bad, and it wants to judge it. But the more we can open up to just accept exactly where we are. And this is, I feel, the biggest challenge in the world right now, and in spirituality and communities, and in my life as well. What I struggled with the most was resisting my own humanity. I was resisting being a human being. I think because we were born as these cosmic beings, we know what true love is. We know what all of these things are. So I was resisting being human. I am not these emotions, right? And I was completely not in my body. But I feel true freedom is this embodied transcendence, to know we're not all of these things, but yet to be so human and so here in this planet, like in this body on this planet at this time, so that we can own and embrace and accept everything. Because really, I see our humanity is the doorway to our divinity. So it's really to have so much compassion for ourselves, that we are human beings on this planet. Like it can be freaking hard to be in this separation and this duality and this Maya and this illusion. So let's start to peel back the layers, like why acceptance is so important. So in order to embrace our humanity, let's look at, well, what do we want as human beings? Let's look underneath all of those desires, underneath all the things that you want in your life. What is it that we truly want? Right? Because you see millionaires, right? They got everything. You see famous people. Lady Gaga, I think, just went, started sharing publicly about her depression and anxiety. Fame, notoriety, money, right? Like breaking out of the box. She had it all. But then what happened? It was like deep depression. So if we know that none of these external things can bring us happiness, what is it that we want? It's like, wow, it comes back to, as cheesy as it sounds, love, right? We want to love and we want to be loved, and not this human type of love that's up and down, right? Off and on, hot and cold, but like an unconditional love. So if we peel back the layers of now unconditional love, what is unconditional love? Unconditional love is this unconditional acceptance, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, but at least for me, I'm like, yes, all I wanted to hear was, nothing's wrong with you. I love you just the way that you are. No matter, Callie, how much you mess up, or you go back into your ego, or you react and you get angry at me, or you say the wrong thing, or whatever you might do, I'm going to love you no matter what. Yet where are we looking for? Where are we looking for this unconditional love from? We want it from our parents. We want it from our lovers. We want it from people. We want it from outside circumstance. We want it from our government. We want it from the politicians. Like, we're trying to look, like, I think unconsciously, for this unconditional love and acceptance from everybody and everything outside of us. But where is the only place that we could ever receive all of that? And it starts with us, right? So we have to become that unconditional accepting lover to ourselves, and unconditionally love and accept ourselves exactly as we are, not how we want us to be, not trying to fix ourselves, not trying to heal ourselves, not trying to change and improve ourselves, to really say, oh my God, like, you guys, each one of you, like, you're so freaking beautiful just as you are. So the first step is to just see this awareness of, where are you not accepting yourself? If you're a projector, like, are you not accepting that maybe you need some rest? And you're like, no, I have to be a doer, right? Where are you denying yourself love? Where are you not unconditionally loving and accepting yourself just as you are? And then the next step, after we start to expand this awareness, is to really, for me, the acceptance comes from, and you can even try it now, just take a breath and like relax the body and relax the breath into each moment, and softening into this moment. If you're feeling anxiety or fear or anger or whatever it is, can you relax and soften into it? It's almost like, and again, this is my 59-6, making love to every moment, no matter what is there, the anxiety, breathing into it, accepting it, being with it, right? So that is the first pathway, is acceptance. And so what stops us as we go into pathway 2? What stops us from totally accepting ourselves, from totally accepting this moment and accepting your perfect design? What stops us is this ego program, right? So the second pathway is about embracing this ego. not identifying with it as who you are, right? The truth of who you are is love, is this infinite God, expansive universe. We are one with the quantum field, right? But the mind, the ego program comes in and says, no, you are this human and you are suffering and this is bad and this is right and this is wrong. It starts to compartmentalize everything. So the ego consists of all of these beliefs of separation. It's the monkey mind. It's that little voice in your head that judges and condemns and says, it's bad if you're unemployed, and it's bad if you were angry, and it's bad, you know, all of this. And I love what Eckhart Tolle, how he describes this ego, as he calls it the pain body. Can you feel it? Like it actually is like a living entity that isn't pain. So it's not, though, what I see in a lot of communities and within my journey, the mistake that I made, and again, there's no mistakes because it helped as a 3-line, I had to make the mistake to realize the truth. But I see what a lot of people is they're beating up on their ego. They're trying to control the ego. They're trying to, you know, somehow make it act in a different way, or we're trying to get rid of our thoughts and we're resisting it. We're pushing it away. But again, all resistance is leading to suffering, and what we resist persists. So really, you know, take a moment to say, what are your voices saying? What is this ego program telling you? That maybe you're not good enough, you know, or maybe it's like you're afraid to go on Facebook Lives and share your voice and somebody's going to make fun of you, or, you know, whatever it is. And what are your human design ego voices? Maybe for manifestors, I hear a lot like, I'm not powerful. That's not who I am. Right? Or for a generator, this is what I hear a lot. And what I did was, I'm part of the 70%. I'm not special. I want to be one of the special ones. I'd rather be a reflector. Well, the 1%, you know, or a projector. Like, what? I got to wait for an invitation. I got the worst freaking authority in the world. Or I can't sleep in the same bed as my husband or wife anymore. This sucks. Or as a reflector, it's impossible in this world to wait a month to make a decision on anything. Like, what are those voices telling you? And just become aware. And I don't know if you guys know Byron Katie. She has a beautiful process called the work. And the 4th question is, who would you be without this thought? Right? And if you actually, it's not a mental understanding, but who would I be without this thought that I'm not powerful, that I'm not amazing? Who would I be without that thought? And it's like, oh, if you actually feel into it and breathe into it, there's space, there's love, there's this infinite awareness. Right? And from there, it's like, oh my God, I can actually flow. I'm actually myself. So I want to support you by going in to actually dissect this ego program. So let me share my screen with you, because I think this helps the mind to actually relax a little bit, to say, oh, this is pretty awesome that there's science backing this up. Because the ego actually resides in a place in our brain. And I think it was in 2001 or something, there's a scientist called Michael Ritchie, by the name of Michael Ritchie. And he did this research and found that there's a part in our brain that stores our ego identity. This is also called the me network. And what happens is our whole life, like for example, I had a life-threatening surgery at 1 year old and I almost died. And so my parents had to abandon me to give me to the emergency room, right? So that I had to go under and have this surgery on my stomach. But what happened is it stored this memory in my brain saying, abandonment, abandonment, your parents are going to leave you, like you're not safe, you're going to die. And it stores it as a memory. And then what happens as an adult, every intimate relationship that I had with a man, as soon as he said like, oh, even if he's like, I need some space, or like, I don't want to hang out tonight. It was like that abandonment wound came up because this memory was stored in this part of the brain. And then it kept repeating an automatic default, right? This brain is kind of like, it was built for our survival mechanism. So for example, if you're a kid and you touch a hot stove, it's like going to store the memories. Hot stove equals bad. Like, don't touch the hot stove. But it doesn't actually register like, Callie, you're safe to receive love. Like, you're safe to be in relationships. You don't have to freak out every time a guy is wanting some space from you, right? But it was triggering this deep abandonment wound. And so what's really powerful about this is once we start to see, oh my God, these thoughts in my head are not me. This is the automatic tape that keeps playing, and it keeps repeating these automatic habits, automatic thoughts, automatic moods, automatic sensations, automatic feelings, automatic opinions, automatic everything, right? So once you start to become aware of this and you're like, wait, I am not these automatic thoughts in my head, right? And then we can start to actually embrace the ego, because, and I love using this as an example, because we feel like the ego is this bad guy that's like out to kill us, right? And it's like, and then we fight it and we try to resist it, right? And what I like to say is this program is like this sweet little like ego monster, right? And he's just sad. Like, you know, the one that's abandoning my abandonment wound that keeps repeating in my brain and in my life. It's not that it's bad. It's like this hurt little guy that just wants love. And can you see if I'm pushing him and saying, stop it, you're like, that's stupid. And I'm like beating up on myself. And how mean is that, right? So for me, one of the biggest freedom tools that I have used is to actually welcome this part in, to say, what are you scared of? I'm scared we're going to be abandoned, that we're not going to be loved, that we're going to die if this happens, or whatever it is to actually welcome it in. And this is what I do in my sessions with my clients in my group sessions, is inviting that part in to actually talk to it and get to know it, because it's actually here to help us. You know, it's here to actually, we want to bring all of these aspects of ourselves and get them all on board so we can flow with our life. Because if this part is fighting and you got this part and you're like, I'm going to start my business, but it's like freaking out and you're creating your business from this freaking out, how is your business going to go? These guys are always going to be screaming. So it's to pause and stop and actually embrace these parts of the ego program, to actually get to know them and talk to them, so that we can reprogram them into the truth, to say, oh, sweet one, you are infinite. You're never going to die. Yeah, this body might die, but we go on for eternity. And so we get to start to reprogram the mind and the consciousness, so it stops this automatic train ride on this track of separation and abandonment and all of that stuff. And we can return it to the tracks of love and return it back to the truth. So again, the ego and the program and all of that is serving a higher purpose. It's like our teammate. So we get to embrace it, welcome it in, and say, okay, let's go, you know, like, tell me, where am I still believing in separation? Where am I still believing in this, you know? And then we get to embrace it and welcome it and reprogram it to the truth of who we are. Okay, so this leads us into pathway number 3. So what keeps the ego alive? Okay. You know, because again, thoughts are just thoughts, right? The program is just a program. It actually holds no meaning. So, but why does it feel so real? And why do we believe in it? The reason why we believe in it is because what fuels the ego are trapped emotions that we have been unwilling to feel. So these trapped emotions consist of 3 core energies. These 3 core energies are fear, anger, and hurt. So these 3 core energies is what's fueling the ego, because it's like, it's scared, right? So then we believe in it, or it's pissed off and it's angry. So then it feels so real in our system, or it's so hurt and it's so sad and it's so depressed, you know, and it feels so real. So when we as human beings, when we don't allow ourselves to just feel the emotions that are coming up, it fuels the ego program and it gives it life. It's like a battery pack. You know, so for example, for me, you know, for a guy telling me he needs to have some space for a few weeks or go on a guy's road trip or whatever it is, if there were no trapped energies there, if there was no feelings of anger, hurt, and emotions, and I had released them, I'd probably have a much different reaction. I'd be like, cool, go have fun. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. Awesome, have fun. But however, because of my past abandonments and my past wounds and all of these past core energies that were trapped, then it's a huge trigger. And then the ego comes up with all these stories and it tries to control. There's all this fear, there's all this rage, there's just all of this, right? And it fuels it. So pathway number 3 is to embrace our emotions, is to actually feel our emotions, to welcome them in and feel them fully, to return all of our feelings and all of our emotions back to love. However, we've been conditioned, right? You guys probably know this. We have been trained from childhood to judge and resist our emotions. It's bad to cry. It's bad to express anger, you know, and every time you probably got angry with your parents, maybe you were punished, or maybe you were even ignored, right? But every time you were a good girl or a good boy, right? Here's some candy, here's a treat, good. Don't be bad, but it's okay to be good, right? Bad, like anger and crying and all these bad emotions, they're horrible. But when you're good, then awesome. However, when we peel back the layers and we look at it, what are emotions? It's emotion. An emotion is just energy in motion. It's just energy, you guys. So, it's a program, because even when my stuff still comes up, it's like, it feels so real in the moment. But this is what we have to anchor and practice, is really honoring our waves and honoring our emotions and allowing them to flow through. And what's really cool about human design is it actually shows us, let me show you guys, that we do have emotional energy, So here we are. Here's my chart, and this is my father's chart. And so the emotional energy is in this triangle on the lower right-hand side, the emotional solar plexus. And so what I love about human design is it helps us expand our awareness to see how our emotions work. So for example, I have it defined, which means I have consistent emotional access to these emotional energies. And depending on what channel is defined, it's going to depend on how my emotional waves work. So for example, I have a tribal wave. So I get my emotions get triggered with people in tribes, especially with those who are close to me. My emotional waves are pretty cool, but as soon as somebody says something that's close to me or triggers me, it's like all hell breaks loose, right? So that's how my emotional energy works. By me becoming aware of that, I can actually accept that, not resist it, accept that this is part of my perfect design, and embrace it, right? And start to just flow with it. However, you look at my father, he has it open, right? And when I saw his chart, as I started studying human design, I cried my eyes out. My whole life, I was like, Dad, can't you just feel my emotions? Can't you just let me cry and be angry? And he would always come on, let's go eat ice cream. Come on, let's go play. He was completely avoiding my emotions. And when I saw his chart, I just started crying, because I was like, wow, with this open center, what happens is he takes in the energy and the emotions of everybody around him. So when I'm feeling angry or super sad, he takes in my anger and my sadness and he amplifies it. So the not self theme of this center is to avoid emotions, is to avoid confrontation. These people are huge people pleasers because they want everybody to be happy so that they don't have to feel their emotions and amplify them, right? So this was a huge awakening for me. So maybe see, if you have it open, see if there's that tendency to not want to please people so that they don't get angry so that you don't have to feel it. Or if you have it defined, are you resisting your emotional waves that are always there? Or maybe you're around other people, that are resisting it. So again, it's I think kids are the best teachers, right? Kids, you see them on a playground. I love using this example of let's say Susie and Johnny, right? They're playing on the playground and Susie has a baseball bat or whatever, and maybe accidentally hits Johnny or purposely hits Johnny, right? And Johnny starts crying and screaming and throws this tantrum and I hate you, and right? Kids just feel the energy to the fullest. And then what happens a minute later? Susie and Johnny are eating ice cream like nothing ever happened. And what do we adults do, right? What do us adults do? Us adults are we're screw you, Johnny. We trap the emotion. We don't feel it. And then even I see Johnny 10 years later down the street and I'm like, I'm still holding on to that anger against him about something that he did 10 years ago, right? This is the human condition. So I feel if we can look at kids as this beautiful example of, can I fully go in and fully feel my emotions to the fullest, set them free, right? Set them free. And again, you guys, it's not our fault that we are avoiding our emotions. We have been conditioned. And at least in my life, I never had anyone to support me to how to consciously feel and experience the emotions to set them free. So there's nothing wrong with your anger. It's divine. There's nothing wrong with your sadness. It's divine. Your anxiety, your worry, your depression is beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. So what do? What we can do is feel it, embrace it, welcome it in. Again, right? If I'm saying, stop being sad. Why are you being so sad? How is he going to feel? He's going to feel even more sad. No wonder why my depression hit such a bottom. And I tried to commit suicide 3 times because I kept resisting it and resisting it and resisting it. Instead of what I had to do was face it and embrace it and welcome it and feel it, right? So as soon as we start to welcome it in, it becomes free. It has a pathway out of our system, right? To return it back to the love that it is. And you guys, it's if we want to be the pioneers on this planet to help the planet awaken, if we can't be with our own anger, if we can't stand in the midst and be stand in love for our sadness and our depression and our anger and our rage, how are we going to stand for peace and love and humanity with whatever's going to happen in the world, right? So we have to first do it for us, right? As Gandhi said, we've got to be the change that we want to see in the world. So how do we feel? Number one, be aware of all the distractions. And maybe you want to share in the chat or share below, like, how do you distract from not feeling those emotions? A lot of people, they eat, right? Emotionally eat because they don't want to feel. Or for me, my biggest distraction was I work. I just stay busy so I don't have to feel that emotion. Or even I was using yoga and meditation, which is supposed to be to support us in our wellness, right? But I was using meditation as a way to escape so I didn't have to feel the darkness. I was trying to focus on light and love, right? But normally these distractions come in three forms. There's either a fight, like wanting to fight back and you blame it, you put it on somebody else. There's a flight, like running away, or a freeze. So it's really to pause, to say, I'm here with you, and relaxing the body, feeling the sensations in your body all the way through. Feel the anger, the anxiety all the way through. Use your breath, conscious breath, breathing all the way through, and let this energy go because it's trapped at the bottom of our spine, and let this energy come up through the heart, transmuting into love. Let it keep transmuting it back into love, into these higher dimensions. So it's not about avoiding, it's embracing, welcoming it, and transmuting it. So we should get excited when this stuff comes up, you guys. Like, we should be like, yes, because every trapped emotion is just stopping us from our connection with our divinity. So embrace everything. Like, yes, here's more emotion. Yes, here it is. Like, embrace it, breathe with it, make love to it, and free it. Give it a pathway out. Okay. So this brings us to pathway number 4. So this is about our relationships, because who brings up all of this core emotions of fear, anger, and hurt? It's always in our relationships, it seems, at least for me, right? Who annoys you? And really stop and think about this. Who triggers you? And maybe you want to share it in the chat. Don't share any names. Like, let's not point fingers, but just share what triggers you about this person. Is it that they're like full of themselves, or they're anxious, or they're like annoying, or whatever it is? Like, why are you triggered by this person? Because why pathway number 4 is so potent and so powerful is these relationships are a mirror into ourselves. They're a mirror into ourselves to see, where are these trapped emotions still hiding? Because as you've probably noticed, being in intimate relationships, it brings up the totality of all of our emotions, the good emotions of bliss and happiness and joy, right? But also these intimate relationships that we get in, that brings up the totality of like separation and pain and betrayal and heartache. So again, these relationships are a mirror. It's never about the person that's outside of us. It's pointing within us. So when we can actually evolve our consciousness to stop blaming outside these other people that are outside of us, and we can use them as a mirror to say, oh, this is about me. It's always about me with me. It's never about anybody else. No matter what happened, they were revealing within me the pain that I was still holding, the anger that I was still holding. Whatever I'm judging about somebody else, like they're so annoying, I think that I'm still annoying, right? They're not loving and they're judgmental. I'm still, look at me, I'm being judgmental too. Right? It's all a mirror to go back into ourselves. So it's a beautiful gift. Like, and that's what I did like a life review of my life. And I went back to all of the enemies that I had, or all the people that really hurt me in my life. Nobody can ever hurt us, you guys. It's only the energy that's already within us. That hurt was already inside. And this person, this relationship was just a messenger to say, ding dong, Callie, you still got this like judgment of yourself. You still got this anger that's inside of yourself. So the key is to really evolve our consciousness and step out of this spiritual immaturity, that it's not about anything outside of us, right? It's never about anything outside of us. And it's not our fault, right? We were conditioned to believe in the separation. So the spiritual immaturity is pointing the finger outside and blaming politics, blaming COVID, blaming the world situation, blaming our partner, blaming our family, whatever it is. But look at, as one finger is pointing out, there's 4 fingers pointing back within to me. So it's taking that self-responsibility. And this is actually empowerment, you guys, of like, wow, this is true empowerment, that it's all me with me. So it doesn't matter what happens in the outside world. I hold the power to my freedom, to my peace, to my evolution, to everything, to the love that I am. It's all within me. right? But we've been conditioned to believe in this Maya and this illusion, right? I saw, I think it was on Instagram, Anita Morjani. She had a near-death experience. And so she was explaining God, the universe, like, and she used this example of the hand. And I love this example of this is like the universe or God, whatever you want to call it, but how I see it is this is the ego program, the default mode network, and it's covering up the God consciousness. And we think we are these separate beings. So we start fighting with our partners, and we start fighting with politics or the world, and we're fighting and we're fighting. And it's like, wait, when you actually peel back the curtain, we're fighting with ourselves. So this is like the huge wake-up call. And this is where spiritual maturity comes in, to bring all of the awareness that we had directed outside, to turn it within on ourselves, to stop blaming everybody and everything outside and take full responsibility. That, wow, every relationship in my life is a gift, and it's here to serve me, to wake up to the truth of who I am, that nobody can hurt me. Nobody can knock me off my center but me. So they are all divine messengers. And we actually owe them gratitude because they're here to set us free. They're here to set us totally free, which is so beautiful. Okay, so the next pathway to return to the peace of our heart is grace. Grace, and whatever name you want to call it, whether it be divinity or God or source consciousness, higher self, it's this infinite intelligence. It's this, right, what I was talking about. It's this infinite intelligence that it's what breathes our breath. It's what beats our heart. It's what grows our hair. It's the harmony out in nature, right? Wow, like, it's not my mind. Like, can your mind make your heart beat? Can you make your hair grow? Like, no, right? So why is our mind kind of trying to control our life? When we start to surrender to this space of grace, and we realize we are swimming in this infinite ocean of energy, this infinite field of love that's all around us, that is us, that has always been us. This energy has always been loving us. Even when we're at our worst and we feel broken and lost and confused, there's an energy that is receiving us, even when we can't see it. There's an energy that's serving us, that is one with us, that is here returning us back home to ourselves. Even when I felt so disconnected at my lowest, when I started to wake up, I realized, wow, every little thing in my life was so divinely perfect to lead me here to this moment, right? So in this oneness, if we truly want to believe and we want to preach love and oneness, then how can we ever say my anxiety is bad, or being unemployed is bad, or, being in this partnership is bad? Everything is divine. Your anxiety is walking you home to you. It's knocking on the door. Will you love me? Will you unconditionally accept me for who I am? It's just you with you. And we start to look out. I go to ecstatic dance every week here in Asheville, North Carolina, and I just play with it. Like, I see there's 100 people on the dance floor, and it's like, they're all just aspects of me. It's all God consciousness. So it's like, whatever, if I feel a little resistance, I lean into it, because it's just me speaking to me. If I find somebody annoying, I almost go up and I start dancing with them and like just welcoming it in, because it's like, wow, everything is God. Everything is this universal energy, and the only reason why we resist it is the mind is just scared crapless, because as soon as we unveil the curtain, it's like we took the red pill from the Matrix, right? All of a sudden, we're out. So this is like that letting go and letting God. So if you can't feel into this universal energy, it's not your fault. So what will really help is going into the first few pathways of feeling all of those trapped emotions. The more you release all of those trapped emotions of fear, anger, and hurt, and you embrace everything, then you start to connect with everything and everyone. You start to connect in, and it's not from a concept in the head of, yeah, we're all one. No, there's like, you can start practicing, maybe even being in nature. Look at the beauty, look at the interconnectedness, look at the perfection. It's so beautiful. And then we can start to make love to our life, to everything that's all around. And this leads us into the last pathway, which, as we start to open up to this divinity and this grace, right? Then we're opening up to gratitude. The sixth pathway is gratitude. So it's not just a gratitude checklist from the head, right? This is a deep gratitude in the heart. It's not just that surface level thing. It's going deeply in to be like grateful for all that you've been through in your life, grateful for all the challenges, grateful for all the successes, for all the blissful moments and all the painful moments, starting to see the gratitude of, man, my life and me, I am perfect by design. I couldn't have designed this any other way. And this is truly the new art of manifestation, right? Because I think the old manifestation is like, I'm here and I want to become this person, right? I want to become, I don't know, successful, or I want to have 10,000 followers, or I want to be this, or even I want to be free. For me, it was, I want to be enlightened. I was like on a 20-year spiritual journey seeking to be enlightened. Yet the power of this gratitude is we are that which we already seek. It's already done. You guys, you're already enlightened. Like you're already woke. There's nothing that needs to be fixed, healed, changed. Like, no, when we wake up to, it's already done. We're already whole in one. We're already loved, right? It's just the ego program that keeps us locked, right? In this game of separation, trying to achieve something. So me, by the mere act of seeking my enlightenment and seeking my freedom, it was keeping me trapped in that program, not realizing I'm already free. I'm already free, even in the midst of my, we're all already free. And so are each one of you. So when I have a client session and they come to me with all their problems or all their worries or all their concerns, all I see is divine light and love in them. And I'm just like, you're freaking perfect. And I love you, and I embrace everything that's there. And we just be with it and we love it and we return it back. And it can become this orgasmic making love to the universe, right? But the ego is going to hate this. And, some people might watch this video and be like, this girl's full of BS, right? Because the ego doesn't want to die. The ego wants to make everything a hard process, and it wants to make everything hard. If you have an open ajna, once I figure this out, I can relax. If you have an open G, once I find my direction and my purpose, then I can put myself out there in the world. If you have an open solar plexus, once everybody around me is happy, then I can be happy. If you have an open root, once I get this done, like I check off all this, then I will be free of this pressure. Can you see the ego program of the separation? Instead of, wait, I'm whole and complete just as I am. I'm not missing anything, right? So let's just take a deep breath. I invite you, if you'd like to, just take a deep breath into all of this. And just feeling into this, if you want to repeat it to yourself, just breathing in this energy, it's a transmission. And just repeating, say, I'm already loved. I don't need to go searching for love outside of me. I'm already the love that I seek. And I'm already whole in one with the universe, with everything and everyone. I'm not broken. I'm already one. Breathing that in. And I'm already served by source and the universe. Everything, life, and all these emotions, whatever comes up in this moment is here serving me to return me home to myself. Breathing that in. And I'm already received. I don't have to go seeking validation and approval from outside of me. I'm already received by source itself. And I'm already infinite. The quantum physics proves that we are one with the unified field, right? This quantum alignment. Right? I'm already infinite and aligned with source. And you know what? It's already done. I'm already loved. I'm already one. I'm already served. I'm already received. I'm already infinite. I'm already whole. So just breathing all of that in. And once we do that, it's like, wow, there are no pathways. Actually, there's no 6 pathways. I'm already home. I was always home. Just pretending I wasn't, right? It's a beautiful movie. And I was always in the space of unconditional love, loving myself, even when I thought I wasn't. So wow, how freaking beautiful is that? So this just requires our commitment. It requires our consistency to show up and choose love, to show up and choose peace, even when the ego and the emotions, to choose up and embrace everything, to choose up and do this inner work, which is for me now, it's like inner play. So we can prioritize our peace. We can prioritize our wellness. So I want to share with you guys, in case if you're interested in diving deeper, and if you have any questions, share them in the chat and we'll get to it. So here were the 6 pathways: acceptance, embracing the ego, embracing the emotions, the mirror of our relationships, the art of relationships, the space of grace and gratitude. We are that which we seek. So if you guys want to dive deeper into this, I'm offering a 6-week journey, a deep dive into the 6 pathways. And each week we're going to dive into a different pathway, and this is going to be experiential with you guys here. I want to hear from you and support you on your journey. And each week we'll go in, accepting the perfection of you, embracing the ego, returning these emotions to love, the art of relationships, how to use these triggers in our relationships to return us back home to the truth of who we are, resting in this space of grace and this gratitude. So we're going to start July 28th. It's every Wednesday from 1 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If that time or day doesn't work, I'm open, as we get the group together who wants to come, I'm also open to changing it. And I'm offering this for the first time as a heart-based reciprocation. So in this, it's free to enter. You don't have to pay anything to come in, but I just require 2 things. One is your commitment to you, that you show up for you. Okay, every week you come, or you watch the recording if you can't come live, but you show up for you. And number 2, at the end, you feel into your heart, what did you receive? What was that worth for you? And based on what you can afford, based on your current situation, then you offer a heart-based donation. Okay, so if you're interested, you can go to Callie Sorensen.as.me to book. It's just a little questionnaire, and then we'll play and dive into this. And if the 6-week dive isn't something for you, or for whatever reason you can't join, I also have a lot of play shops. The next one is coming up on Saturday, July 31st. We dive into your profile line. So I'm a 3-5. And so we talk about that's your role here to play in the world, and how to really embody that and empower that and start to play with that in the world from this space. And if you are more into one-on-one support, I offer containers to support you with this transformation to return home to who you are. And we go into the emotional support. I do your human design. We embody all of it. And so to sign up for any of those, if you want to have a free call with me, and if you're not sure what to do, you can just sign up with me. You can also send me a message on Facebook or on Instagram as well. And I'm looking forward to playing with you guys. So I don't know, Cindy, if there's any questions in the chat, if any of you guys have anything.
There was a question earlier. If you could go into what's the meaning of the 59.6 channel?
The 59.6 channel. Yeah, let me go back. So the 59.6, oh wait, let me stop my share and actually go back. Well, so the 59.6 from the solar plexus to the sacral is the channel of intimacy and depth. So, I mean, I don't know. I think I explained it. I don't know if there's any other questions around that.
You probably.
But on one end, it's like the friction. The gate 6 is like the friction, is like the gate of war, right? But as we dive into the friction, as we dive into what we're resisting, saw somebody said that ego is a bitch, right? But it's like, look at what you're saying to him, right? But when we go into this friction, it's like on the other end, if we actually lean into it and we embrace it, right? We become intimate with it. We become one with it. So it's actually, I used to not really like this channel. Now I'm like so in love with my design in this channel. Like I absolutely love it. Because if we can actually learn how to lean into our challenges or lean into that, what we're resisting, there's complete oneness on the other side as well.
Well, that is great. Many people are just, Cheryl on Facebook says, I'm a generator with emotional solar plex inner authority, who also, I only have the 659 channel.
Oh, no way.
Is that
awesome.
unusual?
I don't know. I mean, I've never met anyone else like that. So, there's just, that's what I love about human design. There's so many, every single chart is so different and so unique. And even though we have like the same design, when you really dive into our charts, there's going to be so many differences, right? And so we can play in our similarities, and we can also embrace our differences, which is so fun. Will embracing everything, our situation improve? Yes. Can you just sense into the energy, right? If again, it's kind of like when we go back, it's like, I know I keep repeating this, but I want this to really ingrain into you. If you have resistance in your life and you're not liking it, if you keep punching it or you keep resisting it, how do you think your life experience is going to go? It's probably going to create, again, that same resistance, right? However, if we start to embrace it, and we start to accept it, we start to feel it, we start to be with it, we start to get intimate with it, how would your life experience be? Right? It's going to totally change your life. totally change your life. And as you start to do this, you'll notice, oh my God, I'm actually totally resisting everything, right? Like I didn't realize how much I was resisting my emotions, and still do to some extent. Like even, preparing for this presentation, I had anxiety arrive, and it like the core program is like, this is real and don't feel it. It wants to keep you safe by not feeling it. But because of the work I do, and because I meet with my clients every day, I get to talk about this every day, and I get to soak in this every day. My mind's starting to be like, okay, I'm freaking out, but I can relax into it. I go in. One thing I recommend if you're having a really extreme time, go in nature, or also take an Epsom salt bath. I love baths. It helps me with my emotions. You could try that and see if it works for you, to really soak and relax in.
We're coming at the top of the hour. Did you want to answer?
Yeah, if we got
question on Zoom there, the last one.
Oh yeah, how will it work if I were to embrace my unemployability? Yeah. Well, at first I would ask, what is your mind making unemployable mean? Because the mind, the ego program, is a meaning making machine. So what does being unemployed mean to you? Does it mean that you're not worthy? You're not good? Like you failed at life, you suck? Like what are the messages that are coming up? And then I would be with those emotions. So then it's to feel what's underneath. So for example, if you're like, I'm not good because I don't have a job, or I'm not worthy, maybe I know, especially I worked and lived in Japan and Korea, and there's such a strong emphasis on having a job, especially you need to be a doctor or a lawyer, you have to be this. And if you're not, you're the scum of the earth. So it's to actually go into the core emotion. What is their fear? Is there anger? Is there hurt? And actually to start to feel that and start to embrace it and start to love yourself, to say, sweetheart, I don't care if you're unemployed. That doesn't mean anything to me. You're the love of the universe. Why would that mean anything? And to really embrace and love yourself, because if you resist unemployment, then what are you going to get? More unemployment. But in order to actually step out of it, when we embrace these emotions and we feel them through completely, then it's like, boom, all of a sudden space. And then all of a sudden, like you might get like 10 job offers without even trying, right? It's crazy how the universe it's so magical, you guys. Once we really go into this and feel it and set ourselves free from these energies, it sets ourselves free. It's so beautiful. And it's like, I see here, I don't have skills. So what does that mean? I don't have any skills. Like, you don't have to have skills. Like you being you guys, I want to drill this in. You being you, just your pure existence, your pure presence on this planet is enough. I don't care about your skills. I don't care about your qualifications. I don't care about your certifications. You guys are awesome. You're divine. You're amazing. You're freaking beautiful. You're beautiful just as you are. Do you see how thick this program runs?
Well, I was going to say that's a great way to end it, because you're just beautiful the way you are.
Yeah, you're
right now at this
the way
moment.
you are. Yep. Nothing needs to be fixed, changed, or healed. You're perfect by design. So just embrace yourselves, love yourselves up. And when the emotions come up, just feel it through completely until it returns to the space of grace and to love. Awesome. If you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to me, Facebook or Instagram, and send me a message. I'm here for you. This journey, I know, can be crazy. So I got your back in every dimension. Just be in this energy, or maybe watch it again. And sending you guys so much love and so much gratitude, and hope to play with you soon.